Welcome to Sales is Not a Dirty Word, the podcast that shows you how to convert 8 out of 10 sales conversations without acting like a douchebag. I'm your host, innovative sales coach Aleasha Bahr, the creator of the Black Sheep Sales Method, because if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there's no selling involved. If you're a service provider selling your own service who's ready to sell differently than the mainstream status quo and win more sales without pressure, pitching, or pretending to be someone else, then this is for you. If you want to know more about the Black Sheep Sales Method, then go to aleashabahr.com. This episode is with Molly Mahoney. Molly made waves with a video that reached 1 million people organically and has since crafted her go live and monetize method, helping businesses attract clients through the power of video. Staying ahead of trends like AI and chatbots, Molly ensures her clients stay at the forefront of this ever evolving space. With over 20 years of performance experience and a viral video hitting a staggering 39 million views, Molly's expertise spans social media and beyond. Her insights have been featured by top platforms and publications, including Jasper, B.Live, MiniChat, Social Media Marketing World, Inc. Magazine, Forbes, and Entrepreneur. She's also one of my favorite black sheep. Everything she does is so unique and different. She's got a mermaid biker aesthetic that I'm obsessed with. She sings whenever she's on stage before she does an incredible speaking session. And she has got something really incredible to talk to us about as far as like brand voice with AI. So I'm very excited to have you, Molly. Let's go. Welcome to the big show. Sales is not a dirty word.
I love it. I'm so stoked to be here. You are one of my most favorite people. So I'm super fun. I'm super fun. That's not what I meant. I'm super excited about how much fun we're going to have. I'm super
you,
fun too.
you are super fun. You know that though. And
Okay,
everybody, if you
right.
can't tell, she definitely is super fun. One of my favorite people. So you have a podcast that you're going to do, Authentically Awesome. You're also got a book coming out, Choose Confidence. And the thing that has been getting your clients the best results is figuring out how to have their brand voice in their AI, right?
Yeah, so this is one of the things that's helped to make things easier, to make things more effective, to be able to get more done in less time, all of that. And I think the thing that helps them to have the best results, to be totally honest, is actually talking to human beings. And having AI as your assistant gives you more time to talk to humans. So I really use AI as a trick, as a way to allow people to think like, oh, I'm going to do this cool trick and it's going to make things so fast. And then you get to talk to people. So it's awesome.
I really like that emphasis because AI is so often not very human.
Right.
And obviously, my approach to sales is all about humanity too. So it lines
Mhm.
up really well with that. And talking to humans is so not, doesn't have to be the scary, awful thing.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think that it really people are out there, I'm sure you see this all the time, they're looking for some magic magic pill that's gonna help them to just, like, click this button and all of a sudden all these sales are gonna come in, but you're still gonna have to come back. Someone on your team is gonna have to come back and talk to human beings on the other side at some point. Oftentimes it may be you. So we really lean into the fact that the more fun we have, the more money we'll make, the more fun we have, the more fun we'll have. And really making sure that when we're using these tools like AI, we're not just slapping stuff into the system and then getting a bunch of junk and what I call zombie content. We're actually making sure that we figure out how to create a brand voice that really truly represents who we are as a person and also as a company.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know this is an issue that I've had with AI is that it ends up sounding like the most vanilla cliche
I know.
marketing speak that's like, hey, are you having this problem? You're not alone. And I'm like, get this out of my face.
It is, and
So,
those frameworks worked at some point. Like, "Have you fallen and you can't get up?" is such a perfect example of that framework working. Oh my god. If you're listening to the podcast, my earring just fell off. This fell off right before I started, and I thought I fixed it so it would stay, but I'm gonna be a pirate today, so it's okay.
well, I can't even tell because it's the one that I
I
can
mean, it's
see
my
is
hair.
there.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
hair just covers it up. It's perfect.
it's
My
perfect.
cascading hair. Okay. So, yeah, I think these frameworks work. That's why they're frameworks, but our market sophistication has changed. So more and more people spot the Do you have a problem? I can, you're not alone. I can fix it for you. Like more, that's a framework that I love called the PAS framework. But if you don't infuse who you are as a human and you don't put your own black sheep spin on it, we call that your quesadilla of awesome. If you don't add that in, then you're going to end up with content that your people just don't even care about because they scroll right by because they can see through it and it just is like zombies. So
It's like,
we have a
"Wah,
way to
wah."
fix that.
Yeah, it sounds like is it the teacher in the Simpsons? It sounds like that? No, it's
Oh,
Charlie.
no. Charlie
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah,
Yeah,
wah,
yeah.
wah, wah. Yeah, totally it does.
So,
It's so
what
true.
about people listening who are like, "I don't know what my quesadilla of awesome is," and that's
Yeah,
scary?
it is it can be scary, and then it becomes more fun, and then sometimes it gets scary again, right? It's not a one and done thing, it's something that's ever evolving because you are ever evolving as a human being, and I actually take this all the way back to when I started as a professional musical theater performer. I got my BFA in theater at the amazing Chapman University, and they had this sign on the wall, this like giant chart. My professor, Michael Nearing, had this giant chart on the wall. It was Stanislavski, Konstantin Stanislavski, a Russian acting theorist or something. He was the like the godfather of acting and how to be like Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep obviously wasn't alive back then, but still, like this is what he was creating. And there was this giant chart, and there's all these little things that you can do, like beat work and moment before and the magic if and all these things. But on the bottom underneath it all, it said in giant letters, work on one's self.
Hmm.
Guess what? That's what we get to do as business owners also. So if you don't figure out who you actually are, it's going to be really hard to create content that actually stands out. I mean, this is like the premise of everything you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
You can't pretend to be someone else, and you definitely shouldn't be fitting in because it's like it's funny, I recently was talking about how you used to wanna everybody used to wanna have the same name, like, you wanted to name, "Oh, I'm gonna name her Mary, so she'll fit in with all the other Marys," and it's, like, safe, and now we're trying
Yeah.
so hard to have a name that's different.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then it
It's
gets people name their kids crazy things like Charleston. That's my son's name.
I love that name,
I know.
actually.
Me too.
I named my daughter Lucy, and then there was another Lucy in her class, and she got to be Lucy B. And I'm like, I was specifically trying to avoid this, but it's just ironic because that used to not be where we were. And it's more
Yeah.
important than ever to just, and black sheep, hey, guess what? They naturally stand out. They're born a whole different color. So, you
Totally.
know,
So, sometimes people are like, "But I'm not different, I'm not unique." So, we actually have a system that helps you to find what it is that makes you unique, and we call this your quesadilla of awesome because everyone has something that makes them uniquely awesome, even if it's just that you make an amazing quesadilla. So, the quesadilla of awesome is where you make a list of 20 things that make you a uniquely amazing, awesome human being. And just like a quesadilla, if you're somewhere that doesn't have quesadillas, because I've had clients say, like, "What is a case dia?"
oh my
A
God.
case idea. I don't know what the case of ideas is. No, it's a quesadilla, right? Like a quesadilla where you put 2 pieces of 2 tortillas with cheese in the middle, but you can put whatever you want. You can add like figs in your quesadilla if you want, nuts and all kinds of things. So, this is the same thing about you as a human. So, we have a little acronym. It's the word SAVE. You may think SAVE only has 4 letters, but I can't spell, so I spell my acronyms wrong so that you get over it and you learn to celebrate my dyslexia. So, it's SAAVE. Whoa, my camera just moved. With 2 A's. So, it's your skill sets, the things that you're naturally gifted at. It's your appearance, and your appearance is not about what other people think about you, it's what you think about you. We were talking about right before we started this video, my camera stopped working, and I have a really fancy, amazing camera that is supposed to be working, and it stopped working, and we switched to this camera, which if you're watching on the video, which you should do, where are these videos posted, Aleasha?
YouTube.
Go to YouTube to see the video. And you'll see like I have like a set with a light and all that, and it looks way fancier on my other camera. But I have gotten to the point where I know I have enough things that I incorporate into my appearance that even if I'm not on my fancy camera, it's going to be okay. I know that authenticity is a part of my brand. So I'm not going to have I'm not going to be self conscious about it, even with my earring falling off. Right. Some people that may happen, and then their head gets into a place where all they can think about is the fact that their earring fell off. I know that I'm okay being a pirate. So it's like
Yeah. I mean, it's very relatable. that people's earrings
Totally.
fall, you know? Yeah.
Totally. And it wasn't always that way. That's something I had to work toward, where I may have been self-conscious about things like that in the past. So, anyway, that's your appearance, and it matters for how you show up confidently. That's the most important part. Okay, then the next A is your activities. So these are the things that you love to do separate from your business. For example, behind Aleasha right now, what is this thing on your desk? Is that like an amazing giant artistic what mouse pad that's like gorgeous, or is it like a
It
piece of
is, it's
art
a
on the
mouse
table?
pad. My husband bought me a giant mouse pad. I was like, "Okay, I don't
Okay,
even have a mouse," but people
my
comment on
husband brought me a giant mouse pad, but it didn't look like that. I spilled coffee all over mine, so I had to get rid of it. But it's like beautiful. If you look on YouTube, again, it's beautiful and it looks like these mountain ranges. So, very oddly, which I don't think we've talked about before, I am obsessed with the art of felting, which is like fiber arts where you take raw wool, and I love to make these like scenery thing backgrounds with them. I don't do it very often, but when I do, I like love it. And it looks similar to that mouse pad. So when I first saw your mouse pad, I was like, I
she
didn't say
felt
anything out loud about it, but I had this like feeling of us being connected. And that's because you are weaving in your quesadilla of awesome into your set and stuff too, right? Like into your house, into your office, into your room. I'm going really fast because I know we only have a certain amount of time. I will slow down if you want me to stop. But I gotta
No,
keep going.
I'm cool with it. So
Okay.
keep going, the appearance, and then I mean, obviously you can't plug your appearance into AI, can you?
No, you can plug your appearance
Okay.
into AI.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that. But like you are, I mean, I thank you for calling me a mermaid biker because I can tell AI I'm a mermaid biker, and that's gonna be there's something that you notice about people when when you see their appearance. Like I have in my AI, which we'll talk about, my AI brand voice, I have what makes Molly awesome, and my quesadilla of awesome is listed there, including my long legs. I used to get called Urkel when I was a kid, and from Family Matters, people made fun of me for how long my legs are. Now I like love my long legs and I
Hell
wear
yeah.
sparkle pants, right? But that's a part of my brand and it's a part of what I write. Like I call myself Sparkle Pants Mahoney.
Yeah, I love her sparkle pants, you guys, and she's gonna be releasing her own line of sparkle pants. Are
I
you
mean,
still doing
I'm
that?
really working on that. I
It's
mean,
you
somehow.
you
I
have to
know.
do it. It's
Someday.
so everybody wants sparkle pants.
It's true. So
Yeah.
you can totally weave that into AI. So that's the appearance. Then the next two are the V and the E are your values. And these are the things that you actually stand for. So I was on a call recently with our coaching clients, and I realized partway through the call that we had in one call, we had a woman who calls herself the virtual Jewish mother. So we had her on the call. We also had a man named Reginald, I believe, who was doing music for Christian churches and helping them to set up their stuff. And he was creating content for that. Then we had a woman who had like witchy wellness and she was doing like more like
Bells?
pagan things. I
Yeah.
don't know. Right. So the fact that we had all of these different religions on one call and we were all in there together, I was like, you guys, I need to just stop and say how grateful I am that we're all here celebrating each other's differences. And it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what my beliefs are, as long as we're all kind. My beliefs are that we can all be on this call together. I know that's not what everybody wants in their community, but that's really important to me. And I think it's actually a huge piece of how we're going to get through our lives is recognizing that we're all unique and
Different.
different and celebrating
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that's values. And you can celebrate that however you want. And then the final thing is the things you like to eat, which seems really silly. But if you go to your Facebook profile and you write these 5 words, which you know what it's going to be, if you write these 5 words, Brussels sprouts, yes or no, you will unlock all sorts of engagement because Brussels sprouts are extremely polarizing. If you can weave food into your brand, it becomes a common denominator. I will also tell you, we call in our future gratitudes on a banana phone. Do you know this? So
Yes.
people sent me, I have my own banana phone, which isn't even here somewhere, but one of our team members for my birthday made me a crocheted banana that I can
Oh
use as my banana phone. And then
my
I was
god.
speaking at an event and someone introduced me with a disco ball banana.
Oh my god, I love
So
it.
weaving in food into your brand as like a specific thing it's sticky. People go to restaurants, they see Brussels sprouts, they send me pictures. 4 people have sent me in the mail the same not recipe, the same dish towel that says, "Every day I'm brustling." It's so weird, but it's awesome. So when you really take the time to figure out who you are before you start using AI, it's gonna be a total game changer that nobody's doing.
Yeah. So you walk people through this save and in finding their personality, and then they take the answers to these each letter in the acronym and they put them in a chat GPT.
Yeah, so we actually build out custom GPTs, and these custom this is with a paid version of ChatGPT. So if you're using something like Claude or you're using Magi or Gemini, you can do this. You just have to give it the full prompt. What we do is we like to do things with no prompts. So we create the GPT first, and then you don't have to re-prompt it. We put the really long prompt in ahead of time, and then you can just ask it little questions and it will be fully like seasoned is what we like to say. So having that quesadilla of awesome identified is actually just the first step of our full voice prompt method where you get your whole voice in there and you can use this to create multiple custom GPTs. And if you don't know what a custom GPT is, you want me to explain that for people?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so if you're listening to this and you're like, what is she talking about? It's a new feature inside ChatGPT. The ability to build them has actually been around for a while. Just a month or two ago, they released the option for anyone to use these GPTs, even if you have a free account.
Hmm.
So, as someone who is a business owner, I would highly suggest that you pay the $20 a month. What is it? When you pay attention, they
Yeah.
say, right? You pay the $20 a month and you're able to build your own custom AI tools that anyone can find if that's how you set it up inside ChatGPT. So there's 3 different types of GPTs that you can build. One is set to private. Only you can use it. The other is set to a setting where anyone with the link can use it. So you can use this for your team members. You can also sell them. So if you create a GPT like this, and we go really deep in this in our content club, we just created one that is a newsletter GPT. It will write your email newsletter for you. It
Mm.
is amazing.
And it
So
sounds good. The newsletter sounds good.
no, it sounds exactly like you.
Okay.
Like bananas. We just did a call where we taught our members how to not use my newsletter GPT because that will sound like me, but how to
Yeah.
build your own so it sounds like you. Like, totally sounds like you. I c
That
if
sounds
you
great. I
it's a
haven't written an email in 4 weeks because I'm just like, I don't have time.
Oh my gosh, Aleasha!
Yeah. And I really hate creating my podcast posts. Like, and the
Okay,
link and
so
I'm
you don't
trying to use GPT, but it's, like, not working for me,
okay, here's
Molly.
the
It's
thing. Okay,
not working.
like, spill it all out. So I'm gonna give you the full voice prompt method. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is why your prompts aren't working.
Well, we created a custom GPT, but obviously we didn't do a very good job.
Maybe. Okay, so let's actually like you could do a little give yourself a score because there's 5 key pieces that you want to have inside that GPT or inside a longer prompt. And I don't always use all of these, but when I don't, if I notice that something's not quite working, I go back to this scorecard and I give myself like a 1 point for each of these. So the first is, did you really give it your unique voice? So the first step of the voice prompt method is the word voice. It's an acronym. I know to use the first word of the acronym is kind of cheating, but whatever. So it's your voice. And that is like, who are you?
Casual, conversational, not too serious.
That's part of it, but I can actually give you the 5. We incorporate several different things. So in the brand voice, we have your brand personality. So mine is like empathetic, approachable, relatable. It blends personal experiences with professional insights, creating a friendly, supportive atmosphere. That's like the
Hmm,
personality.
okay.
Then the tone, which would be more like what you said, mine is
Ah,
conversational and uplifting with a touch of humor. It's clear that you aim to inspire and motivate your audience, often using personal anecdotes to establish a genuine connection,
mm.
which is way more than just saying conversational, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And this is why I use custom GPTs for this instead of using like a tool where you just check a few boxes because that's not enough.
Yeah.
Then there's the language style. So the language style on mine, it's straightforward and easy to understand, yet filled with enthusiasm and passion. And sometimes with these tools, I have to pull the enthusiasm and passion back because it gets a little cray cray. But then also you use everyday language that resonates with a broad audience, avoiding jargon and overly complex terminology.
That's me too.
Hello? So
Yeah.
we want to make sure we include all those little nuances. Then themes and messages. So this is also going to have a big thing on it. And remember, this is just in the V section.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So, and you only have to do this once. Like sometimes people, I think, look at this and they're like, oh, this is so crazy. We actually created in our programs a custom GPT to create your GPT. So
Oh,
that's good. And like to create your brand voice. Mine is, do you want me to share all of mine? Is that helpful?
I think it's helpful. I
I
think
think
it's
it,
helpful for people to start thinking this way, you
yeah.
know?
And like
Yeah.
to see that it's not as simple as you may think it is in the beginning, but that's what makes it simple in the future because you took the time to actually put in this heavy lifting up front and then it makes it way easy. So mine says your messages often revolve around personal growth, overcoming challenges, embracing new technologies like AI and automation. There's a strong focus on the transformative power of coaching and learning.
Mm.
And that's really important because I'm selling coaching services, right? So my content needs to instill that belief. So I love that I
Mm.
have that in the themes and messages. Then finally, the communication style. And so mine says your communication style is highly engaging. You often address your readers directly with a
Mhm.
sense of dialogue. And this is really important. We talk a lot about speaking to one person. So I probably should change this instead of you often. I'm going to say you only address
Yeah.
your readers directly. Speaking to one person, I'm adding this in because sometimes it says like, "Hey content creators," which I
Oh,
would
yeah.
never say in an email, right?
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
adding
I'm
it
the
to mine.
same way. I talk to people directly.
And you know who else does that?
Jesus? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Amen. Totally. Jesus does that. You know who also does, who may be the closest human form that we have to Jesus?
Who? I'm dying. Who?
Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah. He's so kind, that guy,
So
and
kind.
such a trailblazer. I mean, he was really, like, progressive.
Totally. And on the documentary that the main documentary that came out a couple years ago, he says the reason he thinks his show did so well is because he spoke to one person. He
Mm.
didn't say, "Hey, everybody in the neighborhood." He
I
said, "Hey,
love that.
neighbor."
Yeah, he said, "Hey, neighbor." Yeah.
Right? So, okay. And then, so creating a sense of dialogue. This is really important in your copy because if you're speaking as if you're just talking at someone,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel engaging to the reader.
So I like the sense of dialogue. That is a very great prompt that I would have never thought of.
Totally. And I used AI to create this by analyzing my copy. So I probably wouldn't have thought of it either. AI helped me to come up with that. But it's so true.
Yeah.
And then questions and interactive elements are used to involve the reader, making your content more dynamic and engaging, which is really big because when people are reading your emails or your content, they're reading it in their head. And
Mhm.
so they'll be answering it in their head. They're not like
Mhm.
actually thinking they need to answer out loud, which would be kind of cool if they did. But oftentimes, if even if you're not asking for them to comment below with something, they're having it's the same thing on a podcast, right? We can say like, how is this resonating with you? Take a moment to like really see how this is resonating with you while you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And even though we can't have that conversation in the middle of the podcast with other listeners, they can respond back and it feels like we're having the conversation,
Yes.
right? It's so cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the brand voice. And then I also have what makes Molly awesome. And that's where I have my skills, my appearance, my activities, values, and what I like to eat.
And that's under voice? That's still just V?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what's O?
Okay. Oh, it's pretty simple. It's your objective. So, what is the point of what you're doing here? Is your objective to drive sales, boost engagement, educate? What's the
Okay.
real objective? Then the I is for insights. And so this is where it understands more about your business, your audiences, or your audience and their challenge. So your community. I like to say community, not audience. Like this is where
Mm.
you could put, we have a whole little company details section. In the company details section, this is like, what is your company? What do you offer? Who's I can tell you exactly like we include like your company name, your owner name, how many years you've been in business, the niche, solutions that you provide, your website, and what makes your company different. Plus, you could also include your ideal client avatar. And we have a whole system for the ideal client avatar, but all of that can actually go into this.
Wow.
And you can
Okay.
do a short version. It doesn't have to be huge, but we have both. We have a short, like a mini version and a long version.
That's incredible. Okay. So
Right.
insights, that's based on the audience and the company. And then C.
Yeah. C is for your composition. So how do you actually want this to be structured? Is it a blog post? Is it a social media post?
Oh,
Is it
okay.
an email? And like for my newsletter, we have a specific way that we write the newsletter. I want it to write it in exactly this format. So it's like, this is an email newsletter. It will start with an introduction, then have these 4 sections, and then it'll have a close.
So is it like each of the GPTs, you have like one of these GPTs is for emails, and then you have one of these GPTs is for blogs, and then you have one of these GPTs that's for social posts.
Yep,
Okay.
so I have one for ideal clients, I have one for the newsletter, I have one for brand voice, I have one for writing an entire month of social media content, and literally all I say is run the super prompt. I have
Wow.
one that creates the tree of beliefs, which is how we create buying beliefs, so people
Mm.
will want to buy from us. So, like yesterday, for example, I was working on content for a client and I said, "Here's her website, please." And sometimes it'll read the website, sometimes it gets lazy, but I can say like, "Here's the upcoming masterclass that she's doing or upcoming webinar. Please create a tree of beliefs in order to get people to want to sign up for that masterclass." And it'll just go bloop, 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 and it'll give us the whole thing.
Mm. I've been really loving ChatGPT's voice note ability now.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
I used it the other day while I was driving. And I was like, I want to do a new webinar, but I want to like actually I just did a training on the 5 big changes in social media. And I said, I'm going to tell you the 5 changes. And then I want you to pair those 5 changes to my framework that I already teach. And it did it for me. And it like talks back and forth to you. It's so cool.
It's so cool, and I like the voice note because I don't have to figure out how to, like, concisely say what I'm trying to say. I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Brain dump," and then it can give me the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's another thing to think about also. Like, even in the written form, I put so much sloppy shiz into ChatGPT without editing it. Like, I'll take all of the comments from a video and put it in and be like, analyze the best takeaways from these comments. Like you can use it to organize things like that. Okay, the final thing, the E,
Yeah.
are you ready?
Yes.
It is examples. So actual specific examples of what you want it to look like so that
Huh?
it can actually give you what you want.
Yeah, so, like, examples of blog posts or
Yeah, like
examples of
here's an
emails.
example of a blog
Yeah.
post. Now, when I did this for the newsletter one, I couldn't put the entire newsletter because it was too long. So you can actually add those things in a custom GPT as a PDF that
Hmm.
goes with it. Or I just used a little bit of the newsletter and said, like, here's an example of how I want it to start.
Well, I can understand if it had that much information, how it would sound just like you, and you should honestly, any business should be doing this kind of work anyway. That's what's going to allow you to get out of your business. And it's even if you had like a team that was writing this stuff, these guidelines would help them greatly, but you don't have to have a team. You can just have a
Oh my
custom
gosh, no,
GPT.
totally though. And that's like with the newsletter, it was taking me so much time, but now I've created this so my team can do it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And you can see that there is something that makes you different, and it's so important to like, you can see the difference between the effectiveness of the content if you were
Mhm.
gonna have just generic stuff, and if you were gonna have this, and a lot of people, the hardest part for them is writing, and this takes care of all of it.
And then you do need to come back at the end and actually what we call zhuzh. So you've got to come back at the end and make it your own. So it's not like you just want to slap this content straight in there. You do want to give it your own insights and really make it your own after the fact. But when you do this, so much of the heavy lifting is already going to be done. And the other thing is when you find little moments that you're like, that's really not like me. Great. Then you can identify, how do I adjust this? It helps you to know what you like and what you don't like.
And you have to tell the custom ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, then you go back in and say, like, what I just perfect example, the speaking to one person, I didn't have that in my brand voice. I need that in my brand voice.
Yeah. Well, this has been so insightful into what is possible. I haven't had anyone on the show talk at this level. I love how you can
Amazing.
make anybody unique because I know that people look at Molly and think, oh, well, she's got blue hair and pink lipstick and, cool clothes and sparkly pants. And I'm not nearly as dynamic as Molly. Do people like come up against that a lot when they work with you?
Oh my gosh, totally. And I'm like, that is the whole point. Like, you are weird. Let's figure out what it is that makes you weird because I'm telling you, you are weird. And there are people who really don't like my blend of weird. That is great. They can go somewhere else. On this last masterclass that I did, you listening to this podcast, there was a woman who came in partway through and was like, I can't believe I'm 20 minutes into this training and you've not told me anything new, blah, 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 blah. Now,
Rude.
sometimes I just let things like that slide, but I will tell you, I had already dropped so many like mind-blowing huge shifts that were so important for me. They were more on the mindset side of things. They weren't like super technical. But if you
Okay.
focus straight up on technical things at the top of your training and you don't get people in the right mindset and you don't tell a few stories, no one is actually going to internalize what you're teaching.
Yeah.
So I went off, I pulled my slides down and I was like, we need to address something. And I got super spicy and I was like, "Yo, this is not okay. Like, first of all, if you don't wanna be here, leave. Like, you
Right.
don't have we had 150 people on the training, 145 or something on the training. There's no need for you to stay if you don't find this valuable. Like, that's
Yeah,
okay."
like, why do
Right?
you have to spread your toxic sludge everywhere?
Right. So everyone was and I said, and I'm saying this to you with love, like, "You can stay and we'll still love on you, but if you're gonna be a jerk, you're not welcome here." Like, we have a strong rule that you are kind. Even if it's just to me, like it's contagious. And
Yes.
everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, I love spicy Molly. Like she needs to come back all the time." And sometimes I think people get nervous that they need to make everybody happy. You don't.
It's one of the most liberating things to be like, that's the thing is that it's okay if you don't like me because, like, I probably wouldn't like you, and also you deserve to find somebody that you like. Everybody
Right.
deserves to find who they like,
And there are
whatever.
people who really only want to learn from you or someone like you. So we've got to put you out there. And that's something that we have helped people to do for over 10 years. And it's like my favorite thing because you're weird and we'll help
Yeah.
you to figure out what that is and then to put it into a strategic format so you can actually use it to lead to more sales and use AI to make it happen. It's magic.
I mean, that aligns so well with what I believe in and what I'm trying to do, and thank you for your work because people are really exceptional, and once they
Yeah.
know that, it gives them this light and this confidence that is contagious to other people, and it just makes the world a better place.
I so agree. Like times a million.
So that's a good stopping point for us, and we've reached the end of yet another episode of Sales is Not a Dirty Word. Thanks again to Molly for making an appearance as our guest today. And where can our guests find out more about you and how they can work with you?
Okay, I actually have something so cool. So we're doing a trial of our content club and I created a link just for you, which is, are you ready for it? I don't
Yes.
know if anyone else has ever used this slug, but I think it's funny. You know, the slug is like what goes at the end of a website. So
Right.
it's Molly, MOLLY dot live, LIVE slash BS. And the BS stands for black sheep, but you can be like,
Yay!
no BS in your sales, but
That's
BS in your
true.
sales.
It's
So
true also. Yeah, like, cut the BS.
cut the BS and show up as the
A
black
BS.
sheep, as a
As a
BS.
black sheep, yes. I love it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna have that link in the show notes, and check out Molly. She's just like, you can tell she's contagious. So if you want some good vibes, some inspiration, some belief, and some strategy, definitely Molly is your girl. And thank you so much for listening, you guys. Share, comment, and leave a review so other people can find out that there are other ways to do things and they don't have to fit themselves into something uncomfortable.
So true. So true. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.